Hi, I'm Jane Dunewald, and I'd like to share a little bit of my philosophy as an instructor and as an artist myself with you, because if you're here, you may be watching my YouTube videos, and a lot of them are how-tos, and a lot of them are surface design related because that's my first love. It's the enhancements, it's the paints that we use and the colors that we use that make our work special and make it about us. But I like to think of the whole process as a three-legged stool. One leg is materials and one leg is the techniques that we use. And let's face it, those are neutral. Everybody has more or less access to very similar tools and materials, if we're fortunate enough. And so what I do with the tools and materials and what you do with the tools and materials are actually driven by they make up the third leg of the stool. Because that's how we each take the tools and the materials and put our own personal spin on them. And so when I teach these YouTube videos and when I teach in my studio and online, I'm showing you a technique that's a neutral technique. I might tell you what my spin is on that, but I share the technique with you, hoping that you'll embrace it, and if it really appeals to you, you'll use it, and then you'll figure out a way to use it that makes it yours. That's what artists really love to do. That's what creative people do all the time, whether it's a recipe or whether it's work in the studio. I have a new class, for example, coming up in November, and it is about enhancement and embellishments. So it covers a lot of things that I've already taught in other ways, but it synthesizes them. So I just wanted to show you a few examples because it's based on botanical printing. So here's a botanical print that's a beautiful print, but it's a relatively simple print. I have hand-colored the background, but if I wanted to start adding some other elements to it, I'd have the opportunity to make it even richer. Another example is this piece, which is actually a collage, and it had a bald spot right here that didn't print very well. And so I've created, I think you can see it here, a three-dimensional element and incorporated it into the surface. And then I've added some handmade rice paper down here as another way of dressing it up a little bit and making it more my own. So this is how we develop our style individually. Here's another little example. In this case, this has been hand colored, and it's also had some of that tissue paper added to the bottom here. And then I took another piece of a botanical, cut it out, and superimposed it. So these are all kind of exciting ways that we can take one particular art form and we can translate it through our own lens, is another way to think about it, in order to create work that is really all about us and eventually becomes kind of a recognizable study. So I've shared a lot of these techniques. I hope you'll enjoy watching the many videos that we filmed and put up. I love to get questions, so feel free to ask away. And take a little time thinking about your own three-legged stool. What are the materials that you love? What are the processes and techniques that you use? And what is driving that? What do you really love? What brings you joy? Because that's what this whole creative process is all about. When you figure that all out, you'll have a very stable stool. You can stand right up on top of it and paint on the wall if you want to. It's a really good thing to figure out. Really helps you feel excited about the work that you're creating.